Hi, this is Randy Wimmer, and welcome back to Government Contracting Academy's GovCon Business 101 course. This topic is getting the most from this program, and it has everything to do with having the right mindset. Before we jump into the process of starting a federal government contracting company in later courses, I want to discuss a concept that will hopefully create a sense of urgency and expedite your success as an entrepreneur. I want you to fail fast. Now, I know that sounds completely wrong. However, failing fast was instrumental to ultimately achieving financial independence for my family and me. My early failure laid the path for my success. I started my first company in 2003 and it failed miserably. I can't say that it crashed and burned because that would have given me too much credit. To have crashed, there would have to have been some type of movement, some kind of something, but there wasn't. This complete and total failure is, without question, the primary reason why I ultimately succeeded as an entrepreneur. First, it demystified starting a company. I gave it a try and survived the experience with just a few bruises, and all of them were to my ego. However, I learned that starting a company was a lot less intimidating than what I had previously thought. Second, going through the process of starting a company showed me my knowledge gaps in excruciating detail. I learned what was precisely necessary to avoid the same type of failure during my next attempt. Without knowing it at the time, I was following a fail fast strategy. Again, I know this strategy sounds horrible. Shouldn't we want to succeed fast instead? The answer to that question is no. Allow me to explain. I had a meeting with a prestigious global consulting firm. During the meeting, the partner explained her organization's philosophy to me. Her motto was, fail fast. I laughed when she said this thinking she was joking, but she wasn't. She explained that she wanted her team to aggressively attack a problem and quickly provide a solution. That seems rather obvious. Then she stated she wants her team to assume that it's an inadequate solution or that it was failing. She stated that if her team can't provide 100% proof that it's not failing, then it was. The next step is to immediately learn why it's not perfect and to incorporate those specific lessons into the revision or new solution. The first one was creating a sense of urgency. Creating a sense of urgency directs focus and resources to a problem early in the process. Everybody will crash at the end of a project when they're up against a hard deadline. Focusing early is frequently a competitive differentiator. It's an advantage. Surfacing challenges early in the process with ample runway left to address them is priceless. The second gem in this leadership approach is that it removes the stigma of failure. Many organizations foster a zero tolerance for failure atmosphere, believing that they're improving performance and quality. This approach could not point them further from their goals. If your first attempt cannot fail, then it won't. No matter how bad your solution is, it will be painted as a success and remain unimproved. Regardless of what you learn during the process and all the flaws you identify along the way, you are committed to your initial attempt because you're not allowed to ever fail. Of course, you try to put lipstick on a pig, but hey, it's still a pig. By assuming that your first attempt will fail, then you both embrace the forensic learning process and remove the stigma of failure, so you can adopt a better solution in the future. The third and perhaps best gem in this approach is that it creates a culture of continuous improvement. Contrary to the adage, good enough for government work, when supporting the federal government or any customer, good is not good enough. If you can't defend why your solution is not perfect, then make it better. Most of the financial success books that I've read pertain to how the reader makes money. Most of them focus on growing the reward. This program doesn't do that. This program is really intended to help entrepreneurs start a federal government contracting company that adds value to the customer. Achieving financial success is just a rather nice byproduct. If you make customers happy, then you make money. It's really very simple. Let's make the fail fast approach real by relating it to something that we've all done before. Remember those late nights writing college papers that were due the following morning? If so, then you fully and unequivocally understand what a sense of urgency means. Now imagine this. What if you thought your paper was due tomorrow and you gave it 100% of your focus and effort the night before to finish it? With bloodshot eyes, you go to your professor's office in the morning to turn it in. Your professor looks at you quizzically and asks, "Why are you giving me your paper? Because it's not due for another 2 weeks." Now, you stand there completely dumbfounded. To break the awkward silence, he continues, "I can read your rough draft and provide you my feedback if you like." You awaken from your dazed stupor and jump at the opportunity for the free look that last night you assumed was going to be your graded look. A few days later, he gives you his recommendations and edits. Yikes! The edits are brutal. However, his feedback is direct and easily understood. You incorporate his feedback and return to his office asking, "Is this what you meant?" He provides a couple minor edits and you quickly incorporate and turn it in. You failed fast and passed with an A+. Failing fast enabled me to turn the mystery of starting a successful business into discrete, actionable items that I could focus on. This was like getting a free look feedback from the professor in the previous example. Incorporating this free look feedback made starting a company less like magic and more like a step-by-step, doable checklist. To be 100% honest, some of this feedback took a considerable amount of time to incorporate, but I knew what needed to be done. As we begin the process of starting a company, I'm going to challenge you to do something that sounds contradictory. You must balance the need of doing it right with the urgency of doing it now. It's easy to think of a little angel sitting on one shoulder telling you, "Prepare more in order to do it right," while a little devil is whispering, "Do it now," in your other ear. Of course, that's how everyone envisions these two tendencies, and they're wrong. It's really the devil that's telling you to put off your dreams of becoming an entrepreneur by convincing you that you're not ready yet. You need more to learn. There's so much more for you to analyze and plan. How can you possibly know everything you need to learn to launch a company? And that is a direct quote from a devil that used to sit on my shoulder. Let me be Captain Obvious. You will never know enough to start a company. The trick is to learn just enough to try to start a company and then learn from your mistakes. As Murphy's Law would have it, I had to fumble around and learn a brilliant strategy that was beautifully summarized in a book that was published the year after I achieved business success. Eric Ries's book, The Lean Startup, published in 2011, is definitely a worthwhile book to read. Although I can summarize what I learned from this marquee business book in a single phrase, I recommend that you read his book to fully understand why he says what he does. My takeaway from this book is both simple and I think a little brilliant. Learn by doing. From 2003 to 2010, I discovered this tenet of entrepreneurship on my own. Failing fast is your quickest way to succeeding fast. When in doubt, simply do it. This program is intended to help you launch a GovCon company as quickly as possible. Our goal is to have your fishing line in the water as soon as feasible. While you're waiting for that giant blue marlin to strike your line, that's when you're learning the finer details of this industry. The follow-along activities that are included in this program are designed to help keep you on track to accelerate your success. Having said this, each person must march to the pace of their respective drummer. We all have unique personal situations that we must work around. This program completely supports this reality. The follow-along activities are sequenced activities that must be performed. When you do them is dependent upon your personal situation. Within the bounds of your personal situation, I recommend that you try to carve out time to invest in your company and your future. I recommend that we follow the recommendations of airline attendants during their mandatory pre-flight safety briefs. They always tell us that during a drop in cabin air pressure, we should put on our oxygen mask first before helping other people with theirs. Nobody is going to guarantee your future but you. I recommend that you carve out a routine time for your future. During my entrepreneurial journey, my company time frequently changed. Sometimes it was really early on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Sometimes I would go to work an hour early to work on my company before I started my day job. At other times, it was after the kids went to bed. And I won't lie, frequently, it was all of these times. I want to conclude this topic by discussing President Theodore Roosevelt, a personal hero of mine. Embedded in his Citizenship in a Republic speech given in Paris in 1910 is his famous Man in the Arena excerpt. This is the most important piece of prose an entrepreneur can know. In my humble opinion, Teddy nails it. Here it is. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. This excerpt gives hope to average Joes and Janes like you and me. Roosevelt does not describe the necessity for genius, ample venture capital, or a strong advisory board to be successful. The man described in the above excerpt errs and comes short again and again. Heck, this sounds eerily like me. Roosevelt continues to describe a man who can take a punch and get up with his face marred by dust and sweat and blood. Roosevelt's hero is not dependent upon having God-given talents or any advantages of personal circumstance. Instead, his hero must only choose to enter the arena and to get up when knocked down. He must only choose to be great. Success is a choice. I have spent much of my time working up the courage to step into that arena. It was a long journey for me, but one that has led to significant financial success and personal satisfaction. However, the real value was the journey itself and how it changed me as a person. Only a very few people have the courage to enter the arena, and I feel extremely privileged to be working with one of them, you, during this program. And this concludes our first course, and now the real work begins. The remaining courses dive tremendously deeper into how to launch, manage, and grow a federal government contracting company. See you in the next course.